So when do you use colored blades? That's a good question. Ready to go? Time for blast off. Let's go. Hey guys, Todd here with you. Welcome back to Bassin 101. When do you use colored blades? Like I said, that's a good question. The time that you use colored blades is when you have really stained muddy water, you've got really dark days, maybe night fishing. There's many different ways to use these things. Personally, to me, like if I'm using a white, I like this on a willow leaf. And the reason I do that is because just the amount of flash that has, and if it's clear water, I can still fish it fast. And not only that, but the willow leaf blade in a white allows me to go a little bit deeper. You know, if you're fishing a cloudy day, but you're throwing a spinnerbait down deep, that's a good choice to have right there. Or rain. If you got a rainy day, that's a really good choice there too. Maybe if you're around smallmouth, you might want to try a willow leaf and a chartreuse blade in those same kind of conditions. Sometimes in clear water, bright days in smallmouth, especially up north, if you're in the Great Lakes area, a chartreuse blade all day long is a really good choice because it gives a bigger image. And that's the reason you use colored blades anyway, is you want the bigger image. This blade looks a whole lot bigger than the same size in a chrome or a nickel finish or even a gold. It just has a bigger image than that. Even if these are the same size, it still looks bigger. And that's what you're going for. You're going for that little bit bigger image, something they can see. So that's why I use white. Now you can use white in muddy water too. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. But for me, I like a chartreuse blade. Now you notice this one, I've got a bigger number 7 Indiana blade. Now this one I'll use for muddy water. Notice the front blades are nickel. I don't really worry too much about it. But you can use an orange kicker in the front. That's always a good choice. That's an old King Cook trick from the 80s, early 90s. He's using an orange kicker in the front. But I kind of emphasize my back blade more than anything else because I've said this before. You know, if I only have one color of blade to throw from now on, give me a nickel color. Because nickel has probably the most flash of any other kind of finish. So I choose nickel. But these Stanleys just happen to come with a nickel blade in the front, and I'm fine with that. I don't have any problems. So I'm good with that. I could have ordered some in gold, but it didn't really matter. So I actually ordered these the way I wanted them from Stanley before they went out. What a shame, huh? But the reason I use the Indiana blade in muddy water is because it helps the bait stay down. Now, of course, that's what a willow leaf does. But this has more thump than a willow leaf, okay? So that's why I use this. You could use a Colorado blade. Colorado blade's got plenty of thump. If I had a bright sunny day and I'm fishing stained muddy water, I'd probably use a Colorado blade just because it'll keep it up a little bit, like a bigger number 5. It'll keep it up a little bit. But when I'm fishing stained muddy water, whether it's cloudy days or sunny days, I like a spinnerbait to stay down a little bit and fish through the cover because they're going to be cover oriented when it comes to stained muddy water. So with a bait like this, I get the thump, but I also get the bait to stay down. It's just out of sight. So, old Jimmy Houston, just out of sight. So that's why I use a chartreuse in an Indiana blade. Like I said, you can get away with a say a number 6 willow leaf in chartreuse or number 5. You can definitely do that if you prefer to throw willow leaves. It's just going to sink. It's just going to stay down a little bit more, and you have to fish it a little bit faster. But with the Indiana blade, I get just the speed of how I like to crank a spinnerbait through brush when it comes to staying in muddy water. And for me, with the speed that I crank it in, I like that Indiana blade. Now, if you're a real slow cranker, you could probably get away with a Colorado blade. But just remember, the Colorado blade is going to make that spinnerbait fall a little slower. If you give it slack and let it fall through a brush pile, it's going to move slower than this. And that might be what they want. You should always experiment to let the bass tell you what they want. But overall, in general, those are the two colors I throw, chartreuse or white. And I throw the white in a number 4.5 willow leaf and about a number 7 Indiana blade for the chartreuse. And that's just the choices I've made. But you experiment yourself. See which ones you like better. But I've had a lot of guys ask me about doing a video on colored blades. I'm kind of like, that's a good idea. So that's when I use these two right here. So I hope this gives you a little information, and hopefully you can catch some bass on this stuff. So remember, till next time, new techniques are trendy, but bass never change. May the Father bless you and keep you and show his name, and as always, fish on.